Okay. What up, guys? It is Friday. It is the day before the second to last Steel Cities Autocross event, as crazy as that's going to sound. And I mean, we're certainly looking for another site right now, but I mean, it could be that in 2026 we don't have a season, it's delayed until 27, or maybe we don't find a site. I don't know, but at least it's the end of an era, right? It's the end of an era. Um, and we're not going to be racing up a Pitt Race on the VDA, and still kind of processing that. I've gone through a range of emotions over this. It's been sort of like the 5 stages of grief type of deal, because like when I first heard about it on Thursday, I was kind of like you kind of know it's real. Like you see it like on the news, not news, but like you see it in your news feed on Facebook, and you're like, okay, like maybe somebody heard something, maybe it's a rumor, it's not right. There's that denial stage, right? And then you get angry. Like I got angry. I'm gonna be real. Like I got angry at like the owners. I got angry at just life in general, right? Like kind of the whole like, fuck data centers, fuck AI, fuck the housing thing. Whatever's going in there, we don't really know. But like a lot of like fuck all that shit. This is bullshit. That sort of thing. I'll be real. I got angry at the owners, right? I know a lot of people aren't, right? But I kind of feel, I think Matt Cole made a comment on one of the posts that I was looking at. And he says, like, when you own something like that, when you own a motorsports institution, a racetrack, you sort of start having an obligation that's more than just like making money or, something of that nature. It's kind of like owning a church, or in a weird way, like a hospital. Like it's something that like, is an institution for the people. And when you choose by like not circumstances like you can't keep it open or something like that, but when you choose to get rid of it and basically hurt a lot of people, that's where I draw the line and I get angry, right? And I think that's a rational response. Then became the bargaining stage that came, and this is brought on by like Jacob Ryeski. He was saying, well, if you read the cryptic message that they posted, it states something like, well, when the checkered flag is dropped, a green one opens, green one's waved, we're stepping away, that sort of thing, right? So if you just read the statement as a statement, you're like, oh, well, they're just changing owners, like maybe something will work out here. Maybe we're not totally in the gutter. Maybe, who would tear down this great facility, right? That doesn't register for me very well, right? I think of this and I'm like, well, why did they just build those garages there at Pitt Race? Why did they build those garages that they literally just finished like a month ago or something? Why did the pro shop got built like a year or two ago, or maybe like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago? But why have they been doing all these upgrades and building things, and then all of a sudden it's gone? And I mean, I think we all know why it's gone. I mean, from what I've heard with the numbers, and again, take this as with a grain of salt. These are just the numbers that I heard back in 2011 when the Stout family bought this. They bought it for $2 million, I think, right? That's just what I heard. And I heard they've been putting about $1 million into it every year, like in upgrades, not just upkeep, not just keeping it running, but like actual upgrades to the track. So let's just call it even and say they got $20 million into this whole thing over a range of years. And yes, inflation is a thing, but we're not going to take that into account, even though I do work in finance. But let's just say they're 25 million in, right? The figures I've heard were 200 million that they got for this, and possibly 100 million. So anywhere in the range from 100 to 200. That's what I heard. Sources are all over the place, right? But let's just say you were a family or a human being, and that was the offer. You put 20K or 20 million into something, and then you're going to get 200 from it as your basic, and calculate your profit there, because it's fucking huge, right? What would you do, right? Even if it was your childhood home, a childhood farm, a generational farm. That's kind of what I think of, like when they buy up farms for housing around here. Like what would you do? Like, you're going to be sitting pretty, even if after taxes and all that stuff, you're sitting at, 100 million yourself, right? I mean, that's definitely, don't need to work anymore. You could pretty much buy anything pretty reasonable yourself. Don't need to work. The income from the investments is just going to keep bringing in money. I mean, would you do it? That's the problem. Like, I see that side of it too, you know? Another thing I thought of, kind of switching gears and talking about autocross here, is earlier in the season we had a rescheduled event. We didn't have enough people show up, and this is like, I don't know, April, May, something like that, and we had to not cancel the event but reschedule it. And the more I thought about this later, I'm like, holy cow, this really works out for us, because we rescheduled that, I think, to October 11th, okay? And today is, I believe, the 3rd? Yeah, today is the 3rd. I had to check my phone. Today is the 3rd. We have an event tomorrow on the 4th. And if we hadn't rescheduled that event, tomorrow would be the last event, and that would be it. And I think it's a lot to process, because you don't have time to digest all this information and feelings and shit. And then you'd be going for the last autocross event, and you're just going to have some wild mixed emotions. I know I'm going to have wild mixed emotions when I'm there tomorrow and the week after. But we wouldn't even have that week after, right? We have 2 events left, not just one. So if you believe in a higher power or karma or something, I don't know. Maybe something was at play there, that weekend the weather was just shitty. It was raining, it was cold, and nobody wanted to show up, and we rescheduled the event. So then I was all bummed out about it. I made a video about it. I was all bummed out about it. But now I'm not too bummed out about it, because it worked out. So speaking of autocross regions, it's kind of hard to not bring up AHR, Allegheny Highlands region. They're obviously not Steel Cities region. We're very closely geographically related. And if you guys don't know, AHR existed just up until a couple years ago, and they ran out at the Jeannette Airport. We ran at the Ebensburg Airport one time. Not going to get into that event. Wyotech. They ran at Wyotech a lot. And they ran out kind of in that, like, between kind of like Altoona and Pittsburgh area. So I went to a lot of their events. Going to the airport events at Jeannette Airport was always interesting, because it was like a straight shot down, pin turn, which is fine. I mean, that's what you got to do there. And then like slaloms and stuff back. So it was good slalom practice. It was an interesting area. And you're doing these at airports, these regional airports, which was really cool. But they kind of like went away because they didn't have a site anymore, right? The Jeannette Airport, I don't know what happened with that, but they lost that site. Ebensburg Airport, again, not going to go into that one, but let's just say there were some excessive speeds at some point, and we were not allowed back at that one. We did one event there. I don't know if that was the actual reason, but that event was a little chaotic, and it was our first time there. It was a pretty big regional airport with a lot of taxiways and stuff. So that was just an interesting event. We didn't get to go back there. And there was a couple other airports. We went to Jimmy Stewart Airport, if you guys remember that one. I think there was only one event there too. It was a small lot. I think I was 5th or 6th in packs there. It was a small group, but that was pretty cool. I think that was like 2020. But the whole point of all this is AHR kind of dissolved and it went away because it didn't have a location to stay afloat in. It bounced around a bit, and they couldn't have a staple location like we did at Pitt Race. And I think that's what made, and still makes, Steel Cities Region awesome, is because we were kind of very privileged in having an exceptional facility, right? We had like, Pitt Race, we have, the bathrooms there, the track there, the showers, the pro shop there. If you forgot anything, if you need a helmet, if you need a fuel jug, if you need a head sock thing, or just little things, right? You have all that. There's always a food truck that literally stays there, I think, on site all the time. There's food there. It was just a great facility. There's like freaking banquet and conference halls and all this stuff, right? There's just stuff everywhere, buildings. And also the VDA itself, it's huge. I don't know if it's like, it might be, I think at one point it was 6 acres. We were trying to look this up because I don't know how big it actually is, really. I think at one point it was 6 acres, and then it was expanded, so it might be something like 10 acres. It's big. Like, the paved area of this is big. So it's big, it's flat, it was just repaved a couple years ago. Probably like, I don't know, like 4 years ago it was repaved. It's got a guardrail around it, so it's relatively safe. I know some people have unfortunately hit the guardrail, but that keeps you within bounds, right? And it's also safe doing courses up there because as long as you stay away from that guardrail, if you spin out, right, if you're at autocross and you're trying to find the limits of your car, well, you're just going to spin and you're going to go off into the yonder, hit some cones, and you're fine. You're not going to go into grass. You're not going to hit runway lights and stuff like at an airport. So generally speaking, it was a awesome facility. And I think at least for me, like, I would go up there, and like when we have like that end of summer event, which kind of sucks, but we're not going to be able to have that anymore. Things like that, like big group events where we have like autocross going on, you have track stuff going on, and everybody meets and hangs out, and there's like, food involved, and it's a big deal, and people are hanging out and, having a beer with each other and stuff like that. Like, those were like cool, like the hang nights. Like, that's what us autocrossers call them, is like, it's the hangs. We're all hanging out together and shit. And so, like, it kind of sucks, And so why I think it sucks is it's kind of like losing a friend because it was sudden, right? It's kind of like losing a friend because this is what you do every weekend, right? And it's the hub of motorsports in Pittsburgh. I mean, the Grand Prix races there with the historics. We would go up there after Cars and Coffee to watch races. You would race there yourself. There was always things to do at Pitt Race, right? And like, I kind of like car show stuff a little bit, but for me, I really gravitated towards using cars for what they were meant for, the motorsports application of them. That's what I mainly got into and just never quit, right? And it sucks because I think, like, I mean, we all know things are really uncertain. We all know that we don't know what the heck's going to happen. I mean, we're not. I'm just gonna say it because I know it's on everybody's mind. We're not gonna have a facility that's as nice as Pitt Race. I don't care if we get Ebensburg Airport or I threw out there contact Allegheny Parks because we could use Corrigan Drive, the VIP lot, the ice rink lot. We have a contact there through North Park and North Hills Sports Car Club to we could get a contact there and ask them if we could race there. But it's never going to be Pitt Race because Pitt Race was special because it was such a good facility. It's a little bit of a ways from Pittsburgh, right? It's like an hour away from Pittsburgh, but it was a special fucking place, right? Like, just all the stuff that's there. I mean, it was like motorsports. When you're there, you feel like you're at a racetrack because you're at a racetrack. I mean, like, this is coming from me, because I do autocrossing, right? So when you're autocrossing, right, a lot of times you're at the North Park pool or you're at an airport or whatever. You're not at a racetrack. But when you're at Pitt Race, you're at a racetrack. There's announcing. You hear the cars going around in the distance. You hear motorcycles in the distance. You see trailers coming in. You see just like weird race cars and stuff like that. And like you're at a racetrack and you feel that and you're like, yeah, this is cool, like. Or maybe you go do track stuff too, But it sucks because, like, there's a lot of uncertainty. Things are going to change for autocrossing. I'm speaking just autocrossing from this point of view right now. Things are going to change. Things aren't going to be as it was. And it is the end of an era, and I don't know where we're going to go after this. We're actively looking for other sites, but it's not going to be the same. And I think we got to face that, And that brings me to, on that note, that brings you to, like, the 5 stages of grief here, right? You got to the bargaining area. There was the depression area, like, yesterday. And I know everyone's been feeling this, so we're going to talk about it. It kind of fucking sucks. Like, I'm, like, kind of, like, emotional over it, It sucks. like we're not gonna have that site anymore, and like it's the people you meet there. It's what you learn over the years in driving. Like if it wasn't for Pitt Race, I wouldn't be as good of a driver as I am. I think over the last couple years, I've gotten a lot better. Even this year at Steel Cities, even if I don't do any better the last two events, I've already topped my PAX points score ever up there because of just how well I did this year, because of the schools. So thanks, Caleb, for helping with slaloms and everything, because I took a school earlier this year. It really helped. Hearing about car setup, just racing up there, and just the years of doing this up there and having such a great lot that lot applies to like a lot of national events, like going to nationals and out in Nebraska, and when I went up to Finger Lakes and things like that. So that's why we have a lot of great people from this region, is because it grew at Pitt Race, it grew at the VDA. And the problem with all this is, without having the VDA, future generations of autocrossers, because I've seen this stuff, it comes in waves, you know what I mean? Anybody will tell you this. People come and go, right? People get older, people have kids, people have families, people come, people go, and new faces show up, and you get new people show up, and within, sometimes 3 or 4 years, they're winning at nationals out in Nebraska, and you're like, holy shit, and that's because we have such a great group of people around here, and there's people willing to put in the time, the money, the effort, and all that stuff to do stuff like that. And our region, I listen every year. They have a live stream, and I listen every year, and I'm like, yeah, that person beat me, and they're winning at nationals in that class, all these people, they're winning classes, they're trophying in classes, and I'm like, yeah, we have that good of a group here, and it's because of the facility, it's because of the VDA, it's because of the people. Obviously, I'm not going to discount that, but it's also because of the facility, like that we're able to train and do this stuff on a regular basis up there. And so, kind of bringing it back, like I think about the upcoming future generations who aren't going to know what Pitt Race is. They're not going to know what a big flat lot like that is going to be like. They're not going to know what talking to some track guys and discussing setups and things like that is like, because that's not going to exist anymore. So with all this doom and gloom talk, I've seen a lot of posts of people saying some really good things about how much they loved Pitt Race, no matter what motorsports application you're doing up there. Even people from like North Park, who a lot of them, don't love Pitt Race. They understand what Pitt Race was, and it was a motorsports facility. So they're hurt by it, Like I think we're all kind of depressed and all that shit over it. But on a good note, like I've seen a lot of really great comments. I've seen a lot of crappy comments, obviously. Like, this is the worst thing ever. It is. To me, it is. There's a lot of really, really good comments of like, wow, I learned so much up there. Like, this is my home, blah, blah, blah. And like, I don't know, that's kind of how I feel. Like, for me, personally, this is a huge loss, number one. But to me, Pitt Race was, like, it was my home. Like, I started racing. Well, I did my first event at Steel Cities at the Tech lot, at the Washington Wild Things lot back in 2010. That was my first event. And then I gravitated to North Park because it was more low-key and everything. But then I got started at Steel Cities up at Pitt Race. Actually, before the paddock area, I think, was even paved, it was like gravel at one point. And a lot of the buildings were not there. So, yeah, I've been going there a while, and not as far back as some people have. I know some people have been there in like the early and mid 2000s when it kind of opened. But for me, Pitt Race was my home, right? That's what I considered my home. I'm not even joking. I have a schedule. I have a calendar in Excel that is basically my life calendar. Like, this is what I use for everything, taking days off, scheduling PTO and vacations, because we do a lot of traveling, racing type things, other motorsports stuff that we do, or just trips and stuff we're going to take, or other events. And I base my calendar, literally, I'm not even joking, around the Steel Cities calendar. I toss all those events in there, and then I'm like, okay, what's the next one I want to base this around, which is usually North Park, right? If there's any overlapping events, I gravitate towards Steel Cities. And then I start sprinkling in, if I can go to Cone Killer, or if I can go to Central PA region, or I want to go up to Erie and go to MBR, or what are the other events that I can like sprinkle in here, and then how do I fit my traveling in there and everything. But it's based around the Steel Cities calendar for autocross is what I literally base my entire year around, is literally autocrossing, because I go to all the events. I have not missed an event since late 2019, and I've attended most since 2017, 2018, basically. And I did a few here and there, throughout the years before that. But literally since 2018, I've attended almost every single event for the last 8 years. I've never missed an event. 80 events. I've never missed an event pretty much. So for me, this is a huge blow. This is sucks. But also sticking with the positive stuff, we do have 2 more events, and I've seen just I hope they're freaking sold out. I hope we have 125 drivers. We used to at some points have 125 drivers, and I think that would be nuts to do that again. I messaged my dad, and I finally got him to come. He has not seen me at an autocross since 2012 at North Park, and he's coming to Pitt Race tomorrow. I said, Helen's coming with me on the last one. Do you want to come with me on this one? And he's like, yep, I'm in. And I'm like, okay, I guess we're doing this. So I'm gonna get him in the car. That's the other thing. He's never been in a car. He's never been in a car with me driving. So I think that's gonna be rad. That's gonna be cool. And also just to see the facility and experience it from somebody who's not ever experienced it. I think that's gonna be cool. So I'll close this by saying I think the next 2 weekends are going to be rough. I was looking at this and I was gearing up into this. It was going to be last weekend was Steel Cities, then North Park, Saturday, Sunday. This weekend, which starts tomorrow, was Saturday, Sunday, Steel Cities, North Park. And the week after, same deal, Saturday, Sunday, Steel Cities, North Park. It was going to be in whatever it was, 16 days. It was going to be 6 events, so it was going to be a lot of racing, a lot of tire wear. You're going to be drained after it, and right now I'm just flying high on just random ass emotions at this point. I'm also going to even say I'll even say this, dude. The first day that I learned about this, I didn't eat for 24 fucking hours. I was just I was so disgusted with everything. I was just I had to work out that night, didn't even work out. And if you know me, I work out every other day, and I never skip a workout. I work through sicknesses and everything, and I was dude, I can't even fucking function right now. I can't even do anything. So I didn't eat for literally a full 24 hours, and I was all right, I gotta start freaking doing something. But yeah, it's just gonna be it's going to be weird tomorrow. It's going to be weird vibes tomorrow when you show up. It's not going to be the same, which is already weird and fucked up in its own way, because it's already kind of ruined, because you're going to show up and you're going to race and you're going to have fun and you're going to try to be there as normal, but it's not going to be the same. It's going to be lingering in the back of your head when you roll up to the gate, when you're sitting in grid, when you're rolling out for the day, whatever it is, you're going to be thinking about it. And then it's going to hit even harder the next weekend when you're there. And you're wow, this is actually really the last one. That one's gonna borderline suck. I know we're trying to make it at the last autocross event, there's a kind of meme thing with Meme Street. It's WrestleMania, and we have literally we make lasagna in the parking lot there, and we all hang out, and it's a big deal. And there's since it's closer to Halloween, there's costumes involved. It's just the last event of the year. It's just this crazy thing. And it's that friendship, and it's what you do, and this is I think for all of us, this is our friend group is all of these random car people that are just random people, right? Random crazy people that you do dumb shit with. I mean, if you think about it, we buy and build cars and spend a bunch of money and travel all around to go do this stuff. We're all crazy in a way, you know. And you do it with these people, and this is what it is. And I think if we're really talking about it, we're all pissed off, we're all angry, we're all depressed, we're all sad because we're losing the facility. But you're ultimately really sad because you're losing, perhaps, that friend group may not be there, right? It's going to scatter a little bit more. It's not going to be the same, and you don't know what it's going to be like, right? I mean, it could all just kind of vanish, right? For us, the people that race at Steel Cities may not want to go to North Park because, or maybe they will. Maybe half of them. I'm seeing like probably half of them will be like, well, you know what? North Park's the only thing in Pittsburgh, so I'll go to North Park events now, right? And then we'll have too many people there, which is what'll happen. We'll accept everybody, but it's going to be a mess up at North Park too. I could see having, on a regular basis, 120, 130 drivers every single event up there. Well, most events up there, I'd say. But that's what we're all feeling is what it's going to do to the friend group, what it's going to do to your motorsports friends and stuff like that. That's what you're feeling. It's the site, it's the group, it's the organization, it's what you're going to do. It's the thing. It sucks, right? And so on that 5 stages of grief wave that we're all riding, I know personally for me, I was very angry one day. Another day, again, I was like kind of doing the bargaining thing where, I don't know, maybe this isn't so bad. Maybe we could do this. Maybe it won't go away. And then you realize, yeah, it is going away. And then you get depressed over it. That was like a full fucking day. And then now I'm like kind of getting to the acceptance stage of like, okay, like this is it. You got to make the most of it. And this is it. Right? So on that note, I'm going to leave you guys with this. It's not quite the end. I'm sure we'll find another site. Okay? But it's not going to be the same. And we got 2 events left. So if you're out there and you're watching this and you haven't been to an event in a while, sign up. We got 2 events left. This Saturday and next Saturday. Okay? Go sign up. If you haven't been to an event in a while, do it. If you've been thinking about going to an event, I have a buddy who goes to North Park a lot. Well, not a lot, like once a year. But we've been friends since college, and he's always wanted to come to Pitt Race. And he's just like, he reached out to me. He's like, I'm coming next weekend or whatever. And I'm like, cool. If you need a place to stay, I've offered some people up at Central PA region to stay here because I know it's a drive for them. Stay here at my place. If you need a place to stay, let me know. I'm about an hour from the track. I got spots you can park in. We got a futon that is not currently being used, and we have a pull-out sofa bed downstairs, so I can accommodate 2 to 3 people, if not more, if you want to sleep on the ground. We got spots for cars. Come on out and sign up. If you go to North Park and you've never been to Pitt Race, or you're like, I'd never go to Pitt Race, it's too professional for me. Come out to Pitt Race because you're not gonna find another lot like this that's this great. Come experience it at least once, right? Just urging people, come on out. Let's sell out these last 2 events. Let's make it 100, 125 drivers. Because that's what we can do right now. We can send this off as being the 2 last greatest events that you remember forever, and you're like, wow, it's the coolest shit ever, right? So, hope to see you guys there. I got to do some stuff to prepare for tomorrow, get ready, still got work today, that sort of thing. This is just a hobby for us, so see you guys there. If you guys need anything, reach out. If you need like instructions or want to know how to sign up, or if you need anything, let me know. I will talk to you guys later as we kind of know more and as things change and all that stuff. So peace out. See you guys later.